grateful for the hard work that she puts in every single year to sort of pull this together. So always really, really appreciated. So look, to introduce myself, I'm John Isherwood, so I'm Chair of the Board of Trustees. Actually, this isn't, oh, look at that magic. And I thought I'd start just by sort of introducing some of the faces so that you sort of know who is associated with the charity, and then going to sort of step through what our aims are in terms of what we're trying to do with the charity, and also some of the key, I guess, activities and events and goals that we've achieved over the last year. But what I'd always say is we're here fundamentally for you, and so why we love this conference is because it gives us that opportunity to get the feedback from yourselves and make sure that we're focusing on the aspects, the areas that are of most interest or importance to you. So please do feedback with anything or any comments or any areas that you feel that we're perhaps not addressing in a way that suits you best. So that's probably the opening that I would say.
John, you just need to put the mic a bit near your mouth.
Sorry.
That's better.
Closer?
That's better.
Oh, there you go. So let's start with the team itself. So we have a trustee board, I'm the chair, but the board contains a mix of skills, very deliberately a mix of sort of professional skills, but also importantly, we have people with lived experience of Wolfram syndrome. So Paul Lynch, his daughter Jennifer is Wolfram syndrome, and we're also really pleased that we have Abby on our board, who also is, I'm sure, well known to actually a lot of people in the room, but also gives us that feedback, both from somebody that has Wolfram syndrome, but also somebody that is a sort of a younger age group from, honestly, the rest of the board, which are probably all a bit too old. We also have Tim Barrett, obviously probably the key medical expert associated with Wolfram syndrome, and again, it just allows us to make sure that we're addressing the medical aspects, particularly when it comes to research, and that we're putting the money to work in the way that is most beneficial to actually advance understanding of Wolfram syndrome. So then we have 4 employees. These are the people that actually do all of the work. We've talked about Tracy already. Tracy's the chief executive and is both the founder and the driver and the focal point for everything that happens sort of day to day. Tracy's supported with Gina. Gina's been working now for nearly 3 years with the charity, predominantly around grants and bringing money in, but has now also taken the role of working with the Birmingham Children's Hospital, where we have a contract now. It's a contract management and making sure that that all goes as well as it can do. But then we have Georgina and Philippa, and we'll perhaps have a slightly larger photo. So both Georgina and Philippa are in the room today. We're really, really pleased to have both on board. You've worked for over a year now, isn't it? So, and we really wanted Georgina and Philippa to provide that direct connection with the family. So Georgina focuses on family support, so the younger children, and also is very key to the Birmingham Children's Hospital and the clinics. Whereas Philippa is more on the adult side. And if you haven't already met either Georgina or Philippa, please do take the chance to sort of say hello. And again, make sure that you're feeding back anything, any problems you have, any issues you have. They're a perfect point of contact, and they can then either answer the questions and solve the problems directly, or at least point you in the direction of the people that can give you that advice. So before we sort of look at what's happened over the last year, I thought it was perhaps helpful just to take a step back and see how the charity has evolved. The charity's been going since 2010, and there's an interesting story as to how it started, and it's really very much to do with, well, Tracy and Paul, and I guess the process that happened when their daughter Jennifer was first diagnosed with Wolfram syndrome. They obviously had the diagnosis and were given just a photocopied A4 sheet which had very little information on it. And when they went to sort of try and find out more about it, realised there really wasn't much resource there at all. And so just through their own personality and drive, they set up a support group. It started as a support group, and it has then obviously grown into a fully fledged charity. We had our first official conference in 2012, so we're now almost sort of 10 years. We haven't done 10 conferences simply because COVID got in the way, but we're getting there to the double figures in terms of the number of conferences held. From the conferences, it then moved into really an awareness campaign. I think the recognition that Wolfram syndrome is complex, and actually even within the medical community, it wasn't necessarily getting diagnosed as quickly as everybody would want and would like. And I think that was all around just trying to build that awareness within the medical community so people could get to a diagnosis really, really quickly. And so a lot of the early effort was around just sort of information flow and understanding and awareness. From there, the charity started to support Tim as he set up the first Wolfram syndrome trial, and the charity took a key process in that. We're obviously very keen to make sure that that trial is working as efficiently and as well as it can do, and so has been supporting it right from the start. And from that trial work, it then started to go into actually the charity putting money more directly into research activities, all with the aim of advancing understanding of Wolfram syndrome. More recently, again, we've started to shift focus slightly to one of support and recognising that actually the community needs a really good, clear touch point and good, clear understanding of where to go for information. And that sort of culminated in our recruitment of both Georgina and Philippa, which again, I sort of say has been really key, I think, to sort of evolving how we as a charity are going forwards. And we've tried to perhaps sort of summarise what the charity does on this one slide. And it really is built on the foundations of inform, support, cure. So inform, raise awareness, make sure that everybody has the information that they need to understand as much as can be understood around Wolfram syndrome. Obviously providing the support into the community, and then focusing on cure. And we say cure, nobody in the charity is going to find a cure, but what we're looking to do is use funds to facilitate understanding, and so make sure that the medics that are focusing on Wolfram syndrome are sort of working in the best possible way and have the best possible access to sort of funding so that they can then advance their understanding, hopefully towards better solutions. So those three activities really form a part of pretty much everything that we're doing as a charity, and so any money that comes in will get directed into one of those three pots. Clearly, alongside the actual charity work, there's also a lot of administration required just in terms of running a charity, and obviously fundraising is always a challenge. And so with the board and the 4 employees, yeah, we don't get bored, I think is probably fair to say. So look, I wanted to just focus into a little bit more detail on some of the activities and some of the events that have happened over the last 12 months. And I probably will just start on Inform, and I guess it's more just to sort of guide you principally to our website. So we put a lot of emphasis on the website to make sure that that's a repository that has all of the most up-to-date information around Wolfram syndrome. All of the information is medically checked and confirmed, and we are always making sure that it is most up to date. Again, this is to some extent the benefit we have of having access to Tim, Professor Tim Barrett, who is obviously looking at all the information that's going on, and equally making sure that he's giving really clear updates on research. And it's all around just making sure that there's that clear information that's available to anybody that is interested in Wolfram syndrome. So that website, I'm sure you're all aware where it is, but again, please have a look, make sure if you've ever got a question, we try and put some of the answers onto that. Obviously, the website is supported by quarterly newsletters and social media and text emails, but it's all around just trying to improve that flow of information. So then support, I've sort of talked about it a little bit, but it was about this time last year that we've actually formally entered into a contract with Birmingham Children's Hospital, and that's to provide some very direct support in principally around the clinics, and it's the clinics for obviously the young persons and the process that they go through. So Georgina effectively is the day-to-day contact for that, and she plays that critical role in just providing a coordination with the families and how they can get into the clinics, but also very, very importantly, making sure that feedback from the experience that anybody has through a clinic is passed back to the hospital itself, all with the aim of actually improving the overall coordination and delivery of those clinics. I think we certainly recognise that in the past those clinics haven't worked perhaps as well as we all would have liked. Hopefully with Georgina in place now, I think we're already seeing an improvement. We're seeing sort of hopefully better access in a more coordinated way. That will only get better as we keep running this contract. So we're really, really pleased to have that on place and on board, because it provides a more formal link between what the charity is trying to do and what the medical community is trying to do. Again, not just a formal link into the clinics, but also is there as a support service. So again, any problems, any issues, Georgina will certainly be able to direct you to the right place. If she can't solve it herself, I'm sure she can. In a very similar manner, we've got Philippa that is focusing then on the adults. Now, we don't have a formal contract in place on the adult side. However, we are speaking to the hospital and we are trying to sort of put forward to them the benefits of having actually a more formal process and formal procedure, because I think we can sort of demonstrate the benefits that having somebody in place can actually deliver. But nevertheless, Philippa is doing a very similar role, attending the clinics, trying to coordinate those clinics, make sure they go as smoothly as possible, and again, importantly, getting the feedback in to the medical community to actually try and improve it where or if it does need improving. Alongside that, I think we've always recognised that sort of emotional well-being is obviously a key part of that, and we've actually tried to set up some very specific projects that allow Philippa, I guess, to use her experience, her understanding, her skill set to really try and drive and understand and improve emotional well-being. And we've had one project that's been run recently, actually funded by the National Lottery. We'll be looking to do more of those in the future, because again, I think we recognise that that's something that can have very immediate and positive benefit. So then on the research side, probably one of the big events that we had this year is the International Symposium. And what that is it's an event that pulls together pretty much all of the medical researchers that are working and looking at Wolfram syndrome and pull them into a room. And sort of it gives them the opportunity to understand the research that they're doing individually, but provides collaboration links. And so this is on an international basis. So although the symposium was held in the UK, there were representatives from a wealth of different countries, particularly sort of France, Italy, and the US. And what it's doing is it's making sure that even though we're a UK charity, what we're trying to do is take an international view to make sure that all of the understanding that's out there is brought together. And hopefully these type of symposiums provide the catalyst, the seeds that allow the different medical researchers to start talking to each other and just to advance the knowledge and to find different areas of research that will hopefully lead to sort of breakthroughs in terms of understanding. So this was an international effort. So although Wolfram syndrome was a key part of it, we were working very much alongside our US counterparts, the SNO Foundation, and our Wolfram syndrome France counterparts. So it's actually a really international sort of scope to it. And I think although we're Wolfram syndrome UK, I think we recognise that getting leverage from all of the different communities across the world will actually just help to sort of benefit that understanding and push to where we want to be. Next one is planned for October 2024. So this is something that we will look to provide on a regular basis, and it's something that we're supporting both with funding and organisation and time. And so I guess the last point I just wanted to sort of bring up is we are a charity, and as all charities have the challenge of funding, we've got two fundraising events that we carry out every year, which are sort of going from strength to strength. So we had a golf day earlier in the summer that raised sort of nearly £25,000, which is actually the most that we've ever raised before. And these funds are so critical and important to allow us to make sure that we're putting all our efforts in to the particular sort of goals that the charity has. Alongside that, we have 80s nights, and we're also very aware that there's a number of you out there that are doing sort of various different fundraising events. And again, just to, I guess, express my thanks for anybody that is raising money for Wolfram syndrome, and just to give you that assurance that every penny that is raised goes directly into one of those three aspects I was talking around: inform, support, cure. So that was really the main things I wanted to talk about. I guess my sort of conclusion really is, it's as I said at the start, you know, we fundamentally are here for you, and so we really encourage you just to give us your feedback and sort of make sure that we're directing our efforts in the way that is most beneficial to you guys. So yeah, please just keep a dialogue, keep talking. You know who's in the room that's Wolfram syndrome. We've all got their shirts on. So look, I hope you have a great day, and thanks a lot so much for attending.